Oof, well, this is going to be a rough one. Alela Artful Provocateur versus Breya Etherium Shaper, Thalia Garden of Thraben, and Kenrith the Returned King. We're definitely going to mulligan that one, there's no mana there. Yeah, that's much better. Are we going to make use of Moat? Definitely make use of Skull Clamp, yeah, we're keeping that. Feels good to keep an opening hand without having to worry about mana or having to get rid of any cards in your opening hand. Okay, and we've got a spiky Brea player at the table, seemingly. Going in for all of the mana rocks. Yeah, so a turn 2 Brea, seemingly. They've only got 3 cards left in hand, but is it going to matter is the question. We'll just get down a tap land and pass immediately. Well, no one's getting off to as fast a start as Brea. I suppose Brea's had to play all these out immediately, thanks to a Thalia being at the table. Mox Opal, I don't think taps for mana. Oh yeah, this is Metalcraft, isn't it? It doesn't... I'm thinking of Mox Amber, I think is the one I was thinking of. Which needs to see a legendary permanent in play, so there is the first commander of the game on turn 2. Now 4 cards in hand. And we get into Austere Command. Let's just drop Morphic Pool and go in for Ozar's Signet. Kalni Heart Expedition for the Kenrith player. Everyone's getting off to a way slower start than Brea. And then the second commander of the game, the 2-mana Thalia Garden of Thraben. So this is non-creature spells, isn't it? Yeah, costs 1 more to cast. Okay, Brea going in at the Thalia player. I think Thalia is the one they're going to be worried about the most. I'm actually thinking of getting down our commander here. Now the question is, do they go for the -4/-4 onto our commander or Thalia? Yeah, I'm not really sure on that one. We'll just go for our commander anyway. We seem to be drawing into mana this game. Or do we just go for Swiftfoot Boots? Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, I think we just go for Swiftfoot Boots actually. Can this blow up artifacts? No, it can't. Yeah, I think we definitely go for Swiftfoot Boots here. And that way I'm hoping, I mean we're broadcasting that we're going to have Hexproof on our commander, but I'm hoping that the Brea is not going to go for the -4/-4 onto our commander. If they miss their chance, then they're going to miss their chance thanks to Alela having Hexproof. Veteran Explorer for the Kenrith. Still don't know what Kenrith's aiming for, really. Could be a myriad of things with the Returned King. When this dies, each player may search their library for 2 basic lands, put them onto the battlefield. So, yeah, perfectly willing to see this thing die. It may be that Brea swings in there to encourage this thing to block. Thalia might even do it. And I'm assuming that with the Veteran Explorer, this is some kind of group hug deck from Kenrith. I'm always intrigued to see what type of builds people have come up with for this commander. Okay, Silverblade Paladin, so Thalia jumps up to a double striker. But deciding not to swing in, the Thalia and the Silverblade are both 2-power double strike creatures and are just sitting back on blocks apparently. Going for a Whir of Invention where X is 2. And this is during the end step of the Thalia. Okay, Nim Deathmantle, that tells us that there's some kind of combo coming into play here. I think it's Ashnod's Altar that you typically want to combo off with Nim Deathmantle with. You can sacrifice the Brea to Ashnod's Altar, put it in the graveyard, sacrifice a Thopter as well, so that'll give you the 4 mana for the Nim Deathmantle, and then bring Brea back and you'll go up a Thopter every time you do that. It's also infinite death triggers and ETB triggers, but I think it's the infinite Thopters you'd go for with that. You can do the same thing with Grave Titan, or any creature that enters with 2 or more tokens really. But we definitely need to be on the lookout for Ashnod's Altar. And Brea swinging a Thopter at us, a Thopter at Kenrith, and Brea going in at Thalia again. Now, are the double strikers going to block Brea? They do have mana held up to kill off whatever they block with. Might be worth them double blocking here. Yes, they do go for that. But if they kill off one creature, I think it turns off the Soul Bond, which means that they won't have double strike anymore. So perhaps a double block there isn't the best thing. Oh no, they are going for allowing Brea to die there. I say die, it went into the command zone. So maybe an error by the Brea. Yeah, not too sure what happened there. The Brea player seems to have paused now. Maybe, I think they might not have expected... and then going in for a tutor. Yeah, definitely a very spiky player here. I think they may not have expected the first strike damage from both creatures. Maybe they were just expecting a hit for 2, and then they wanted to respond after that. Yeah, I don't really know what their aim was with the Brea there. I'm assuming that this Imperial Seal is going for Ashnod's Altar. Alright, we get into another land, which is good, so let's... Yeah, we might have to go Austere Command. I don't want to, but that might be something we have to go for, unfortunately. Yeah, so let's go Windswept Heath, and we'll go in for our commander as well, so let's crack this first to give people less chance to respond. We'll go in with Tundra, then go for a Lila. And now, does anyone have spot removal is the question. We'll attempt to put Haste and Hexproof onto our commander. And there we are, we managed to land it, that's good. I think I'm okay with just sitting back, to be honest. Yeah, we'll just sit back here. Yeah, just informing my opponents of what may occur with the tutor. The Brea player says that they did not tutor for that, but we don't know if that's right or not. Our opponent might be lying to our faces there. Now, Veteran Explorer may swing in here because, yeah, our opponent wants it to die. Is the mono white player. Yeah, I think that's an intelligent play there. Had they have swung in at us, I would have taken it, because if we can get rid of Brea, then we're actually up on mana compared to everyone else. But the fact that they've swung into the mono white player that is also behind on mana, yeah, suggests that they would block, which they are doing. So we're all going to get to go for some basics here, and it will trigger the Khalni Heart Expedition. So if they make a land drop this turn, then they're going to go up a lot of mana. And we are certainly going to use it, because I'm sure everyone else is. I wonder how many basics Brea has in the deck, actually. If it's a C EDH build, then they won't have many lands at all. Let's go for a Plains and an Island. All these lands come into play. Oh, they come in untapped as well, which is noteworthy. I didn't realise that. That triggers the Khalni Heart Expedition. Our opponent can still make a land this turn. And that's funny how they've gone for a forest there when they've got 2 green in play already. I would think they'd go for a blue or some other source there. Maybe they're worried about things like Blood Moon switching off their non-basics. So it's probably a wise play from our opponent. And there is the Cabal Coffers. Now the problem is we've got Urborg in our hand, and I did want to play that. Khalni Heart Expedition being cracked now, and this time they will get to go for 2 basics again, I think it is. Yeah, 2 basics in tapped this time. And it is, yeah, now they go for the island and a plains. So they're just missing a mountain from their basic collection. I'm currently thinking of Austere Command into artifacts and small creatures, because that will get rid of Thalia and Silverblade Paladin, but it'll also blow up the Brea player and probably knock them out of the game. Oh, Happily Ever After. Okay, so Group Hug, Happily Ever After deck here. This is a means of winning. So what do you need to do? You need to, at the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 5 colours amongst permanents you control, 6 or more card types amongst permanents you control, and or in the graveyard, and your life total's greater than or equal to your starting life total, you win the game. So they've got the life total ticked off. They don't have many card types, and they don't have many colours in play or in the graveyard, so I wonder if it's too early to play the Happily Ever After. We drew into Intangible Virtue, though. And now a Cleansing Nova, so that keeps the Austere command in our hand. Yeah, we were going to lose our artifacts anyway, so I don't feel too badly about that. Yeah, that's probably Brea out of this one. Oh, and they didn't get into any basics either. Did our opponent tell us what they tutored in for? No, I don't think they did. Anyway, they didn't have any basics in the library either, which we did point towards. Oftentimes see EDH decks don't have many lands, probably like, I don't know, 22 lands and a bunch of Moxies, which we saw in that deck, so glad that the EDH player didn't win this one, because it's not a competitive game, seemingly. And then Thalia and the Silverblade Paladin going in at the Kenrith. I'm really keeping my fingers crossed for a land here, because I do not want to drop that Urborg, but I don't want to miss land drops either. Kenrith going down to 34. And there's a Detention Sphere for us. Moat would be useful, but if Thalia's going to keep going in at Kenrith, then yeah, I think it's worth going for an Anointed Procession here. We'll get one Fairy token, and that comes down as a 2-1, thanks to Lila. We'll get a couple of those every time we cast an artifact or enchantment now. As much as I'd love to get down that Skull Clamp, I want to drop it down and make use of it anyway. So let's just hold back the Fairy. And we'll also go in at Kenrith to show some solidarity with the Thalia player. Now Kenrith, the returned king, has come down, so everyone's got their commanders in play here. Yeah, if we had dropped the Urborg there, our opponent could have tapped 3 lands and gotten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. And then 8, 9, 10, 11, yeah, it's a huge difference. Pretty much doubles their mana. So we do want to be careful with this Urborg. And the Thalia player hasn't missed a land drop yet. A Bishop of Rebirth. When it attacks, you may return a target creature card with CMC 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. That is a 3-4 with Vigilance. So that might be a means of them getting back into their commander if they decide to put that in the bin. Now the Thalia's coming in at us. So we're not ganging up on Kenrith apparently. I will just take the commander damage. And a Deafening Silence has come down as well. Each player can't cast more than 1 non-creature spell each turn, which is not good for us. I think I'm going to have to go for the Moat here. We get a couple of fairies again. And we can't cast anything else in our hand now anyway, so we've got an excuse again not to go for Urborg. And now I'm thinking that Thalia is going to become the biggest threat. Although, yeah, we don't know what Kenrith's doing. They've got one of their win conditions down already in Happily Ever After. That got wrapped up in the Cleansing Nova. I think it did anyway. Why is it? Oh, it got destroyed, not exiled. Okay, so our opponent might be able to get that out with something like a Sun Titan. I thought Cleansing Nova exiled, but it destroys. And I didn't notice that the Kenrith had a Mox Tantanite in exile. That has 2 suspend counters left on it, so a couple of turns left for that. And Kenrith, deciding to pass the turn, can't do anything apparently. What are these abilities? Yeah, could draw a card. Are there any creatures to reanimate? There's the Veteran Explorer. Can they do that from any graveyard? Oh, it's from a graveyard, that's worth noting. They've only got a creature in their own graveyard to target so far, but they can do things on here at instant speed. Scrying Sheets coming down and being activated immediately. And that's all Thalia wants to do, seemingly, so we will play the land that we drew into. I think I want to start drawing more cards here, so we'll go... We could just go Rhystic Study, but I think I want to go Detention Sphere onto the Deafening Silence and then go Rhystic Study as well. We could start laying on a lot of damage with Intangible Virtue. I might drop that next turn when we've got a lot more fairies in play. So let's go... Well, we'll crack the Marsh Flats first. Get down a Scrubland, and then we'll go for that Detention Sphere. Oh, and of course, I'm forgetting all about Thalia. Alright, in that case, yeah, we can't afford to do both. So we'll just go Rhystic Study instead. And then we can hold up Hall of Heliod if any of our enchantments get blown up. So I think the plan might be continue making land drops as best we can with Rhystic Study. Maybe next turn drop the Intangible Virtue and get down a bunch more damage onto Thalia. So we'll swing in like that. And what is that? Settle the Wreckage. Is that 4? I think it's 4 for Settle the Wreckage from white, so they might be able to play that. But I think that gives you basics. I've never actually seen that casting commander, so I don't know how likely it is that Thalia has that. We managed to get the damage through, so they are down to 29 life. And like I said, we'll just hold up the Hall of Heliod's Generosity. For all our opponents know, we might have counter magic in hand as well. And now Kenrith going for something at the end of the turn. That is, yeah, they're going for their Group Hug card. They can't attack with that. They might have a sack outlet that they can use with this thing. It's not likely that they're going to be able to block with it with a moat in play. Unless they've got Wonder in the deck or something like that. Alright, a Rampant Growth. And it looks like they're putting the mana into the Rhystic Study, so that is a 4 mana Rampant Growth. Apparently Kenrith has nothing else to do this turn. And then they're probably just going to put a plus counter onto the Veteran Explorer with Kenrith's ability. Because they have nothing else to do, I assume. Yeah, oh no, they're putting it onto Kenrith himself, so that is a 6/6 commander they've got now. Yeah, Thalia has done us a great service by slowing the game right down for us here. Going for that Scrying Sheets again. But they have not revealed a snow-covered land yet. So just passing the turn over by the looks of it. They can't attack still thanks to the moat. And we get into land tax. Does anyone control more lands than we do? That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3, yes. Do we want to go Intangible Virtue though? This is 10 damage, 12. It'll be an extra 5 damage, which is 17. Yeah, that's actually the difference between us taking out Thalia next turn and the turn after, isn't it? So why don't we take advantage of how slow the game's gone and get rid of that Deafening Silence. That way we can go for land tax as well. Oh, I've actually tapped the mana wrong there, haven't I? Ugh, that feels bad. Could have gone for land tax and Intangible Virtue here. We'll just go in for the Intangible Virtue, I think. Okay, Swords to Plowshares. We've still got the triggers. We'll say yes and yield to Rhystic Study. So that gets rid of our Alela. But we still get a couple of fairies at least. Then Detention Sphere comes down. We'll get rid of this thing, because we want to do as much as we possibly can. We'll go Intangible Virtue. Oh no, we couldn't have... Yeah, I keep forgetting about Thalia somehow. Yeah, we couldn't have gone for land tax as well because of the tax on Thalia. Don't know why I keep forgetting that. I think... Yeah, after this... Well, we can't really make much use of Skull Clamp. That's the problem with Intangible Virtue. Gives our fairies too much toughness. But we'll swing in at Thalia anyway. And that is 10 points of damage. So how much have we got here? That's 5, 6, 7. So that will be 14 points of damage. Plus 7 if we get a Lila out next turn is 21. So we should take our opponent out of the game next turn, hopefully. So we will continue to not play the Urborg. And just sit back on our moat. The game seems to have been ground to a halt thanks to our moat, but that is what we want to do in this deck. We want to keep people from swinging in at us too much unless they have flyers. Mox Tantalite comes out, and our opponent will have to pay into the Rhystic Study if they don't want us to draw a card, but they give us the Chromatic Lantern. And now it is Unbound Flourishing. That's an interesting card. I wonder what our opponent's thought process is behind that. Maybe they've got Genesis Wave or Villainous Wealth, something like that. Yeah, be intrigued to see what our opponent wants to do with that. We've drawn into Mana Crypt as well, by the way. And we can play that for 1 mana. That's pretty much a Sol Ring with a downside, thanks to Thalia. Then they're going with the floating mana for target player gains 5 life. Oh, and they're giving it to Thalia, so some politicking going on here. That will keep Thalia in the game, actually. So they're obviously relying on the mono white player to wipe enchantments and creatures, maybe. Waiting for them to get into an Austere command. They go straight in for the scrying sheets again. It's reveal, isn't it? Yeah, they still haven't revealed a land. I think that's what they do, isn't it? If it's a snow, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. Yeah, well, they haven't revealed off of that yet, as far as I can tell. They're tapping out for something, though. It is a Return to Dust, so that gets rid of the Anointed Procession and the Moat. So that's Moat down, and our opponent can start swinging in again if they want to. We're at a high life total here, so I will take it. And this is creatures it brings back, isn't it? Which I don't think they have any creatures, no. But we'll be able to start making use of Skull Clamp now. It will give our opponents less of an incentive to swing in at us if we've got a blocking Skull Clamp. They come in at us, we'll just take that. It's going to take us a long time to die to Thalia's commander damage. Alright, Enchanted Evening is good against Enchantment Wrath Protection. We might as well go for the Mana Crypt, because we go up a mana with that. Then we'll grab ourselves an Alela as well. And I think this time we will go in for the land tax, and we can start guaranteeing our land drops. Because we've been missing land drops for a long time now. Get some more fairies into play. Or another fairy into play now that Anointed Procession's down. And now we've got 3/2 fairies thanks to Alela's power buff. So if we can encourage the Kenrith player to just keep giving Thalia life, then it means that they're pouring life into that as opposed to doing anything else. How much does that life thing cost? Yeah, that's 3 mana, that's not nothing. Knocking our opponent down to 3 life. So King Kenrith definitely keeping Thalia in play there. And now Kenrith is tapping out, which is always worrying. And yeah, there we are, there's that Villainous Wealth. I don't think they're putting mana into Rhystic Study. They are targeting us with that. We get into a land. And that is X4 twice, thanks to the Unbound Flourishing. They get a Mirror Maid and a Vamp Tutor from us. Mirror Maid on Detention Sphere, maybe? Detention Sphere, getting rid of our Alela. Oh, did they decide not to go for Mirror Maid? Yeah, it can copy anything on the battlefield, not just you control, so... Can they cast it until the end of the turn, is that it? No, they have to do it on the stack, don't they? I don't really know what happened there. Our opponent doesn't seem to have cast these things. So they got from us a Grasp of Fate, and All That Glitters, a Ghostly Prison. Yeah, that would have been some good stuff for our opponent, but they don't seem to have cast them for some reason. Maybe they don't know how Villainous Wealth works. That's a shame if... Yeah, that's a real shame if our opponent just clicked through that by accident. Because these are the types of things that wouldn't happen in paper, and that is the type of thing that warps an entire game. They would have had a lot of permanents in play from us there. Ah, that's what it is. It's Thalia. Yeah, excellent. So the Villainous Wealth says cast, doesn't it? Or it must do. Yeah, you may cast any number of them without paying their mana cost, but you still have to pay the 1 mana tax into Thalia. And because we've got a bunch of non-creature stuff, they couldn't cast anything because they're tapped out, so we're being saved by Thalia yet again here. We'll just take this again, don't care. Don't care about the commander damage if Thalia's going down next turn. Then tapping out everything and going for Martial Coup. So that's a board wipe. That's exactly what our opponent needed. We will draw another card and we get into another land. As soon as we drop the land tax, we start drawing into lands. That's always the way. Veteran Explorer triggers and we'll get some more basics into play. So Thalia's not out of it just yet. We will grab a swamp and a white source. Alright, and then our land tax triggers, as does Mana Crypt. We're going to play some stuff this turn, aren't we? Do we want to bother with land tax? Yeah, we can take one land out, I suppose. We don't have many more basics to play, really. Let's just grab a Plains, say Tails on the Mana Crypt and lose that flip. Oh, Consecrated Sphinx might be just what we need. How much is the Alela to play? That'll be 8, I think. Yeah, that's 8 mana, so 2, 5, 6, 7, 8 leaves us with 4 mana. I think it's just Consecrated Sphinx, to be honest. Yeah, let's get Verdant Catacombs out. And we'll pull another land out of the library so that we're less likely to draw into those. We'll go for Underground Sea. Then it's Consecrated Sphinx. We'll go Chromatic Lantern and Skull Clamp equipped, I think. So we are going to be drawing a lot of cards here now. And we've got another flyer in the air, so Thalia needs to do something about Consecrated Sphinx. Either that or Kenrith does. Kenrith can come down with haste as well, and well, I think Kenrith is going to be 7 mana. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 with 2 floating. We will definitely draw with the Sphinx. We get Oblivion Ring and Wind Reader Sphinx, so that's even more card draw for us. Clever Impersonator onto the Consecrated Sphinx, that's really good. And when you've got 2 Consecrated Sphinxes in play, you actually bounce card draw back and forth between each other, so gonna have to be careful what I do with the Sphinx now. Oh no, surprisingly, they actually go for Unbound Flourishing, so they've clearly got more X spells to go for. Yeah, maybe an Oblivion Stone onto one of these things would be good, so that we don't get completely blown out. No, I'm very surprised our opponent didn't go for a Sphinx there. And as much as I hate to do it, it might actually be time to go for Austere Command onto enchantments and small creatures. Depends if we can get this Thalia player out of the game. Oh, True Conviction's really good. They go straight in for their Thalia. And they're actually contemplating whether or not to pay for the study here, so they've clearly got something in hand that they want to do. But they don't get down an Anthem, thankfully, so we're just getting a bunch of soldiers swinging in at us, I think. Might as well block one of them. We're taking a hit for 6. And yeah, as you would imagine, they're all coming in at us. So we will block one of them and take the hit for 6. Then doing something at instant speed. Maybe they can go for some kind of instant speed Anthem to deal more damage to us. I doubt they can do 22 points of damage to us though. No, they were clearly just a bit hasty there. They want to do it during the second main. Whatever it is. Alright, it is a Karmic Guide. So maybe it's the Bishop they go for. Yeah, Bishop can get them back into the Silverblade. And Karmic Guide is a flyer as well. So that is a problem for us. That does change things. I think we might have to go for the Austere Command. They do grab the Bishop of Rebirth. And now it's over to us. They've got 1 mana floating, and they can't cast Swords to Plowshares. Oh, they've already done Swords. Path to Exile they can't go for, because of their own Thalia. It does affect themselves, doesn't it? Yes. So I think it's just O-Stone onto Karmic Guide and swing in with Consecrated Sphinx, and then we'll have a think about what else we want to do. Land tax, I don't think we necessarily need to worry about. We lose the flip again to Mana Crypt, so we need to be very wary of our life total here. Need to get a wriggle on with the victory. We'll just take the last 2 basics out of the library because we need to get a fast win anyway, and I don't think we're going to need to make land drops for the next 5 or 6 turns. So we don't mind discarding those. Just thins out our library and helps us draw into something other than lands. Alright, so how about just to try and keep us in the game, we go for... Yeah, I really want to wipe out enchantments, to be honest, because we're not making much use of any of our enchantments now, really. As soon as we get rid of Detention Sphere, this will come in, but hopefully our opponent's going to be done for by then. So we'll go Oblivion Stone, or Oblivion Ring, first of all. And that will cost 1 more. Get rid of Karmic Guide, and we'll swing in at our opponent immediately. So we'll swing in at Thalia, and see if the King Kenrith player has anything to say about it. They do have some mana held up. Yeah, they're doing something. That is a Comet Storm where... Oof, yeah, that's why I wanted rid of the Unbound Flourishing. That'll wipe the board at least. X damage to any target. And that gets copied twice. We will draw cards with Rhystic Study at least, but I think I'm definitely going for the Austere Command here. We might get taken out by Kenrith because it will come down with haste. So they're going to deal 3 damage to the Sphinx twice, and then 3 damage to us, I imagine. So we were never going to gain life with that True Conviction. I'm glad I didn't cast it. Draw a card with the... Dance of the Manse. If we can survive after an Austere Command, we could get all our stuff back. But yeah, we draw with the Skull Clamp. And the... What else did we draw with? Yeah, we just drew 2 cards with Skull Clamp there. Oh, and the Rhystic Study as well. Oh, it looks like that was targeting the Sphinx as well, so... Yeah, our opponent not doing too good a job in targeting there. They could have dealt 3 damage to us. Don't suppose it matters which land we play. Let's just go for this one. Then if Kenrith is 5, 6, 7 mana... 8 if you include the haste. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2 mana held up. Might be a plus counter as well. That'll be 6 damage to us. But then we can start doing trickery with this and get rid of our opponent's commander with Detention Sphere and Oblivion Stone. Yeah, okay. So let's go for Austere Command to wipe the board of enchantments and small creatures. Or do we just want blockers in play? Or Sphere of Safety as well. Yeah, Sphere of Safety might be an idea. Let's just go Sphere of Safety. This way our opponents have to pay a bunch of mana to get into us. It'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. And we don't have anything else to do we? So we're just keeping our fingers crossed that we don't have any spot removal pointed at the Sphere of Safety currently. And then ditching some stuff, we'll get rid of Urborg definitely. Ancient Tomb definitely. The Shockland. We can make our stuff creatures, can't we? Which is risky, but yeah, that's something we can go for. I think we have to get rid of Windreader Sphinx. Enchanted Evening we're not going to cast. Then just a land as well. Yeah, so our opponents have done a good job of keeping us at bay here. I felt fairly comfortable about winning this one, but I'm not too sure now. And we didn't get rid of these Expel enchantment things either, Unbound Flourishing. So that could spell the end of us as well. Ugh, Warp World. Just a means of dragging the game out even longer. Each player shuffles all permanents they own into their library, then reveals that many cards from the top of the library. Each player puts all artifacts, creatures, and lands revealed this way onto the battlefield, then does the same for enchantment cards, and everything else goes on the bottom of the library. Oh, that is a way worse board. Look at what the mono white player gets into. Oh, that's just, yeah. I mean, what are we supposed to do there? We got back into Mana Crypt, Lantern and Skull Clamp. Yeah, there was nothing we were going to do there. We would not like to pay 2 life. But something tells me we're dead anyway here. Dying to a warp world. Darksteel. I mean, it doesn't matter, does it? I think we have to go on the Sunscorch Regent there. And our opponent got into some really big stuff as well. Oh, now what's this? Whenever another creature enters under your control, you may gain 1 life, so we're not losing life yet. Oh no, we got into more stuff. Oh, forgive me, it's the enchantments hadn't come into play yet. Quarantine Field does nothing, unfortunately. We got back into land tax. Estrid's Invocation comes in. There's a detention sphere somewhere. Or maybe that's a trigger from it leaving play. Oh, I don't know what's going on here. Alright, they go on the bottom in any order, we don't care. Ugh, losing to Warp World doesn't feel good. We'll wait for all of this stack to resolve and then we'll have a look and see what we've actually got in play. At least I don't feel too badly about not going for the Austere command. Might have made a difference because our opponent had a lot of tokens to shuffle into the library and therefore got a bunch more stuff. But yeah, there's not really much planning you can do around a Warp World or any kind of Chaos card. Quarantine Field does nothing. So we'll just point that, I don't know, at Oketra. Somewhere we appear to have a detention sphere. Oh no, the detention sphere and the Oblivion Ring are bringing things back in from exile when they leave play. And they did leave play thanks to the Warp World. So they get back a Karmic Guide from the Oblivion Ring and a detention sphere brings back in, I think that was the Deafening Silence, wasn't it? Silverblade Paladin is back into play as well. I don't know how that came back into play. Oh, from the Karmic Guide, wasn't it? Yeah, so Karmic Guide targets the Silverblade Paladin. Silverblade Paladin is paired up with the Bishop of Rebirth, so they both have double strike now. The Deafening Silence comes back in. Quarantine Field doesn't have any counters on it, so it doesn't do anything. And then the mono white player is going to go up to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 life. And fingers crossed that Kenrith can actually deal with the mono white player because they're the ones who kept them in play. So that would be an interesting turn of events if Kenrith keeping the mono white player in play was actually their downfall. They got back into their Unbound Flourishing, by the way. Oh, and Kenrith just decided to scoop. Wow. Alright. Yeah, they should really draw off the top and see what they get into, because this white player is just going to swing in at us and take us out. Yeah, so after going for the Warp World, they just decided to scoop it up, keeping the mono white player in play just long enough to win the game. A very strange turn of events. I think we had every right to win that one, but apparently we are not going to win this one. Just wait for the mono white player to hopefully turn everything sideways. Let's tap out to show them that we don't have anything. We've just put a Cyclonic Rift on the bottom of the library, so we certainly don't have that. We'll just tap out and give our opponent the chance to swing in for the victory. If they decide to play around, then I will just scoop it up. Oh, and I completely forgot about the Sphere of Safety. Yeah, we've gotten into Sphere of Safety. I didn't see the Coastal Piracy either. Thought it was weird the way that everything came into play there. Alright, so we're not quite done for yet, apparently. I assumed that we were out of the game here, but we're not just yet. Can we cast the Austere command is the question. We need to wipe creatures. We're down to 5. Our opponent had to pay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana for the Sphere of Safety. Land tax just shuffles our library now because we don't have any more basics. Let's see. We win the flip this time with Mana Crypt. Don't bother with land tax. And we draw Sea of Clouds, which is now a tap land. Right, so how much does Austere Command cost, thanks to all the tax effects? That is 9 mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Can just about afford it. How does this thing flip? And what does it do when it flips? Oh, that's just... yeah, okay, we're not too worried about that. So I think we go Austere Command on creatures. And that wipes the board. Completely forgetting about the Oketra. What does this need? Unless you control 3 or more other creatures, they can make creatures with this. Can we last long enough? Dance of the Manse gets us back into Dark Steel Mutation. We might be able to. We'll play out this tap land and see what happens. They can't pump mana into this and have the Sphere of Safety mana held up. And this didn't flicker, did it? It didn't enter as anything, so it didn't gain the ability. Oh, that's a shame. Would have been nice to have 2 Sphere of Safeties in play. Treasure Map now being activated. That is a Scry 1. And it needs 3 landmark counters on it to flip. I think we're just relying on Dance of the Manse here, as much as I'd love to get down True Conviction. Austere Command, and there we go. Going on to enchantments and creatures with CMC 3 or less, that'll certainly do it. That's exactly the reason that I usually want Enchanted Evening in play, just didn't really have the chance to play it this game, unfortunately. Was definitely going to get that out with Dance of the Manse next turn. That would have switched off Austere Command because our opponent, I assume, doesn't want to blow up all of their lands and all of their own permanents, which is what would happen with an Enchanted Evening in play. Oh, of course, but because they do that, they don't get to play a lot of creatures and therefore can't attack in with that. Yeah, this is a very strange game. We, again, win the flip, 2 Mana Crypt. Really don't think we're winning this one. Xur Enchanter without haste. Let's drop a Plains. And I think we just tap out for Dance of the Manse. We have to win the next Mana Crypt flip is the problem. This is going to cost 2 more to cast, isn't it? And that's it, so it's 1 and 2. Yeah, so that's 4, and then we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do we want land tax? Don't think we need it, do we? Yeah, let's just go for more mana in Ozar's Signet. I think we can do that. So we'll grab all these things back. They all come in as creatures. And then Estrid's Invocation comes in as... it comes in as Sphere of Safety, surely. Oh, are we not allowed to go for Sphere of Safety? How's it worded? As a copy of an enchantment you control. Why are we not allowed to go for that? Alright, well it's only allowing us to target our lands for some reason. I don't understand that. Let's just go for a Plains then. And it is a creature, so it has Summoning Sickness. So we can't tap that for mana. We just have to hope that our opponent can't do anything to us. And we also have to hope that we can dodge the Mana Crypt Bolt. A Scry going on that, and this transforms. So some more treasure tokens. And now going for Elspeth Sun's Champion. That will get rid of all of our creatures that are in play. Yeah, very well played by our opponent. All they have to do, really, is drag the game out long enough to have us die to Mana Crypt. Yeah, our opponent's got some good cards in hand, apparently. They've got an answer for everything that we're trying to do. So, destroying all of our creatures, sending our enchantments back. I don't think we've shuffled again since we put the... There's another enchantment reanimation spell that's only 4 mana, and we put it on the bottom of the library before. I don't know if we've shuffled since then. Now Auramancer comes out and gives our opponent a warrior token. So this needs 3 or more other creatures, so they are still 1 creature short on this swinging in. But we might die to the Mana Crypt anyway, and then that Deafening Silence comes down. That might be a game changer. Don't see what we can draw into here, to be honest. We lose 1 life to the God Pharaoh's statue, and now, moment of truth, we lose the flip. So that is one hell of an end to the game. Our opponent did very, very well there. We'll say good game. And let's see if we would have drawn into anything good. Nah, just another land. Always happens. As soon as you get into land tax, it seems to open up the floodgates for all your lands coming out. We didn't draw into lands for multiple turns there, and we were actually struggling on mana. And then as soon as you get down land tax, all of your lands start to appear. Yeah, I don't think we were doing anything there. Our opponent had some good draws there, and they got into a very good warp world. Got into all the removal they needed in the last few turns, so it was very well played by our opponent, and I don't mind losing that at all. We were set up to win that one, but that Kenrith player decided to interfere in our plans, as they probably should have done, because keeping a 3 life player in play and using them to help take us out, and then just knocking their life total down by 3, seems to be the correct play to make. Although obviously it didn't work this time, because the mono white player managed to pull it back from the brink, so good for them. Hopefully you all enjoyed this one. Be sure to leave it a thumbs up, and be sure to let me know what you thought of the game, because this was a nail biter, I think. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.